Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is Stock Trade Ideas for the week of December 8th, 2014. Today is Sunday, December 7th, and we're going to take a look at 7 trade ideas. We're going to review a couple that we exited last week, 3 that we're currently in, and then 2 new trade ideas for the week. Okay, we're going to start off here with Yandex. So I got into Yandex on the 28th, and the 28th was right here. So we had this trend line that was being broken. We had the 10, the blue line is the 10 exponential moving average below the 21. It was rounding over, it was breaking down. You were trading down below the 10, very nicely. We got in right near the opening with puts, and then wrote it down. And the next day we got out. We're actually out on the first was the next trading day, and got out of half, and then got out of the remaining half down here around 22.6. Just couldn't hold the, I was trying to be, there's always something you have to work on, right? And I have to work on my patience and trying to stay with the exact target, and had a target of 22 and a quarter, actually 22 to 22 and a quarter, and it actually went below that. So anyway, it turned out to be a good trade. Can't complain about that. And the details of all this, the results and all of that, is on the Trade Ideas webpage, which is on the website, and you just need to subscribe to have access to it. The next thing we're going to look at here, so that was a nice trade, is Goldman Sachs, which was the opposite. We got stopped out at Goldman Sachs, and that was a little frustrating. It looked like we were starting to break down here. Now, the one caveat is, the 21's above the 55, above the 233. Things were aligned to the upside, but I did think we were starting to break down. We were getting moving averages to cross, but sometimes it's just not ready to go, and that was the case here. We got in with puts right here this day, right around in here. And then it came down, and then it reversed back up. And I kind of had a, funny feeling. Of course, the next day kind of confirmed that, moving back up here. And then we got stopped out on this day right above this top here, right above this high. And we're stopped out. And then it proceeded to shoot up here. Now, the one thing that after this, I happen to see, this does look like a wedge, an ending wedge or an ending diagonal type of rising wedge, and this is going to be interesting to see if this is throwover action or not. Now, when I look at Goldman Sachs, the volume of these 4 days, these last 4 days in here, these up days, was pretty strong, well, above the 50-day moving average of volume. That's the dotted line for each of the 4 days. So that's, that's definitely bullish in there. So it'll be interesting, and there's, RSI, it's broken out. It's up here at, 78. So we'll see. We'll see whether or not this is a wedge that makes, holds any relevance, or whether we're doing something else here with Goldman Sachs. But we're flat on Goldman Sachs right now. And so let's get into the next one, FireEye. FireEye, we got in, I think it was right in here, right around in here, I think. And actually, 2020 hindsight, I could have easily gotten in up in here based on the way the moving averages were laid out. And again, there's always something you can improve upon. Okay, there's always something you can do a little bit better on every trade, and that's why you sit back and evaluate every trade and look at it, and just like the pros do, whether you're talking about pro athletics, pro football, or whatever. I mean, you constantly have to sit back and reevaluate. Okay, how'd you do against the game plan, your trade plan? How was your trade plan? What could I have done a little bit better? What should I have seen? On and on and on. So anyway, we're in this. It pulled back a little bit, and now it's rolling over, and it seems to be wanting to go our way. We've got this little trend line in here that it was trying to break it, pulled back up, and now is rolling back down again. Similar to the action over here, I think. Although the blue line, the 10, is below the 21, where it was just starting to break here right after it broke this trend line. So a little bit different scenario. Nothing's ever exactly the same. Now, the 21 is above the 10, so that will change if this continues to push to the downside. So that's what I'm expecting to happen. We could be in a little bit of a trading range here. I'm not sure. In terms of looking at, this where I've got the horizontal lines drawn, we are getting, lower highs and lower lows. Okay. And if you back on out a little bit more, you can see you had this low, this high, then it came down, lower high, and then this low was lower in here, and it was actually lower than here too. So it could be getting into a point where it's going to try to trade, back and forth. But I tell you what, if it comes down here to 25, this will be a great trade. These puts will do very, very well if this comes all the way down here to 25. So we'll just continue to watch and see. I've got an initial target where I'll get out on half prior to that. And again, I've got the details on the Trade Ideas webpage. Adobe, we've been in. Let's see, when did we get in? I can't remember when we got in on this. It may have been somewhere in here. Calls. We're in calls on Adobe. The other ones we were in puts. They were in calls on Adobe. Thought it was really going to go. Thought it was going to run. Was looking at up in here somewhere as an initial target. And then now it's last couple of days it's pulled back down. So I've tightened the stop. And we very well, unless this opens up and gets going on Monday, we very well may get stopped out for a small percentage loss on this tomorrow morning. I mean, we'll just have to see. But I've definitely got the stop tightened up on this. And again, I've made that change on the Trade Ideas webpage. Okay, YELP. YELP is the next one. YELP, we've been in and out of this, and then we got into the puts right in here at the opening of this day on the 1st. And so now it's come back, it's come down, and we had 3 days of kind of chopping sideways. It kept rallying back up a little bit, and then it would sell off during the day and sell off, and then finally broke on Friday. Now, this is going to be interesting because the way I've got this scenario laid out on YELP is this looks like fan lines to me, okay? And I talked about this once before when I talked about YELP and this trade idea, and this looks very similar to what I saw on Apache. And that's why, I'm pretty bearish on it, and we'll see if it continues to play out that way. You just have to continue to monitor and see if it's playing according to your scenario. There actually was 2 sets of fan lines. There was a small set of fan lines in here that I drew with these really light lines. And then there was this bigger set of fan lines off of this pivot point right here, okay? And I do think we're in a corrective mode of an A, B, C, okay? And so when we look at this, let me zoom back in. You can see these little fan lines I drew off of this pivot point, little point here, and then this point right here. And so this last little fan line pretty much lined up pretty close to this bigger fan line in here. Now, the way fan lines work is that when you break that third fan line, that's when the reversal is supposed to be in, okay? So, theoretically, this thing is now reversing and it's heading down. So now I look back and I look at it and say, okay, well, where is potential support going to come in? That's where I've got this first dotted line in here, because over here I can see that the lows were right around 52.53, 52.50, and 52.55. So I said, okay, 52.50 might be the first potential support. And, let me pull this up. Okay, first support at 52.50. Next support is going to be at this pivot point at 49. Okay, that's going to be right in here. All right. And then after this, if it breaks 49, the next potential support that I could see was these points right in here. Okay, that's the next support that came in terms of stopping, and that's at the 47 to 47.5. If these don't hold, then this gap's going to get filled. Okay, and this gap gets filled at around 43. The high right in here is 43. So that's why I've got a series of checkpoints that says, okay, first support, we break 52.5, then we're probably going to 49. We break 49, we're probably going to here. We break this, we're going to fill the gap at 43. And this is where the gap fill is. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see this kind of a move, given that we're reversing on fan lines. So that's why I'm cautiously optimistic on YELP, and so we'll continue to see if that goes our way. All right, 2 new trade ideas I'm looking at for this week. CREE looks like it's starting to roll over. We're getting some closes below the 10. It's pulling back up to this 55-day moving average, which is down pretty strongly at a 45-degree angle or 40-degree or whatever, you know, it's sloping down pretty nicely. It's below the 233. You've pulled back up to it, you know, after a down move. You've kind of pulled back, and now I'm thinking it looks like it's trying to roll back down to the downside again. So that's what I'm looking to get into with puts. You know, it's got to hit a certain point that I've got as an initial point to get in, and then we'll get in with that and we'll go from there. So we'll see if that continues. Let's back out a little bit on CREE and see a little bit bigger. You can see it has been in a pretty big downtrend, but it still wouldn't surprise me to even see it do like a retest of the low. Now I don't know if it'll go down that far or not, because this could be a first wave up. I'm not quite sure about that though. But anyway, you know, it just looks and acts like it's trying to roll over, and we'll see if we get that tomorrow. Boeing, on the other hand, looks like it's going the other direction. Boeing has been very strong move in here. This almost looks like a sharp 2 pullback and then doing a third wave, which in this third wave, if you were to count this as a third wave, you would say 1, 2, 3, 4, and so another 5th wave up of the third wave yet to go. So this looks like it pulled back. The 10's going sideways. 21 is going up strong. 55 sloping up some. We're still below the 233 a little bit in terms of this moving average. The trading isn't. Trading's up above it. But it now looks like it's closed back above the 10. It looks to me like maybe it's trying to resume its upward trend. So if that's the case, I want to be on board, and I am looking to get on board with calls to see if I can't ride the next little wave up on Boeing. So that's the play on Boeing. And if you back on out, you can see it's broken this trend line, which it's been correcting. So this is corrective action. A lot of times when you get a break of this trend line that's been containing this corrective action, yeah, you are in that impulse move heading higher for the next wave. And that's why I'm thinking that we may be having another leg up here on Boeing. So that's the scenario on Boeing, and that's it for today. Let me double check. I think that is. I've got several that I'm watching, but nothing ready to really talk about, and we'll see how these play out this week. All right, this has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. If you felt like this was helpful, please share it on social media. And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. It's very easy to do. Just click on the red box or go to the website and fill out the little form I've got there. It's just first name and email, real simple, real easy. Gives you access to the Trade Ideas webpage. You get notifications when I put posts out. And I have got a free PDF for you, the 5 essentials that you can download. So, all right, everyone have a great rest of the Sunday and a great Monday. We'll talk to you again tomorrow night.